to the Cooler Women's Wellness Tribe, the podcast. Get comfortable, get your walking shoes on, and let's get going. Hello. Welcome, gorgeous goddesses, to another episode of the Cooler Women's Wellness Podcast, and I'm on my own today. I feel like it's been a while since I've been on my own, and when I was thinking about what do I want to talk about today, there's so many things that I want to talk about. Like, I couldn't really whittle it down for a while until I've had a good think this morning. The main theme today is going to be about sisterhood. All about sisterhood, all about finding your tribe. But I do want to share a few other things as well. So I'm kind of going to go backwards in my timeline through my summer break, and which will bring me back to my sisterhood in Portugal in June. So if you have me on the socials, you'll see that I did a mini USA, can I call it a tour? We did New York, San Francisco, Vegas, and then went back to New York. We did New York twice. I really do think that I definitely lived in New York in a past life. When I am there, I just feel like, first of all, it's so familiar and I feel like I know my way around, and I just have this sense of home when I am there. So I'm definitely going to do some kind of hypnosis or something to take me back. And weirdly, years and years ago, before I even went to New York, so the first time I went was in 2019, and I had been dreaming about New York since I can remember it, actually. And yeah, even before I had been, and obviously New York's in a lot of movies, so it's not hard to sort of guess what it feels like, but I would be just in my dreams, just walking around the shops, going shopping, and I'd see the World Trade Centers, and then obviously everything that happened with them, they would still be there in my dreams, but then I'd be in them and they'd be rocking, having all these crazy dreams. So I definitely think there's something there, and which is why I love New York so much. A lot of people ask me, would I live there? And I know I live in a city here in Dubai, but I think New York is a proper city. Like, Dubai is a city in a bubble. So because you don't have the dirt, you don't have the, all of the things that come with big cities, the homelessness, the litter, the crowds, like, it's very different here in Dubai. But I don't know, would I live there? I think I'd get stressed out on the subway after a while. I'm a little bit claustrophobic, and I get a little bit when people are piling in the subway. But I suppose you can walk more. What I love about New York is the parks. And the past couple of times we went in the winter, and this is the first time in the summer. I'm definitely team New York summer. I love how everyone is just out in the parks, but I'm guessing that's because a lot of people do live in high rise, because I was thinking, why don't people do this in England? But a lot of people have a garden. Not most people, but a lot of people have gardens. And if they don't have gardens and live in a terraced house like I used to, you would get the terraced house, people that sit out on the front and then they chase the sun around to the backyard. So yeah, I'm guessing that's why we don't utilize our parks as much. So we'll definitely be going back to New York. I don't think next year, maybe the year after. Another thing I want to talk about today, so I'm just zipping through New York so I can talk about Vegas. Why is no one talking about the aliens? So while I was in Vegas, as if I was there, the conference about the UFOs, UAPs, whatever people are calling them now. And the people, they swore on oath, in Congress. I'm not quite sure exactly who they were, but I did watch it while I was in Vegas. And I'm a little bit obsessed with UFOs and, are there other things out there? I think there are. I really do. How can we be the only miracle to be the only living, walking, thinking, speaking, driving, shopping beings in this infinite universe? Like, when you think about it, it can blow your mind. I know it blows my mind. It's one of those things that I can't really get my head around, other than there's definitely something else out there. And watching the conference, I expected it to be all on the news. They finally admitted it. You know, they found non-human remains in these spacecrafts that have crashed down to Earth. But it wasn't on the news. And I know there's a lot of other things going on in the world. And I have my own little conspiracy about this. I do think that they keep it a secret, and they've only released little bits, because I think if we knew the whole truth and the technology and the extraterrestrial beings that have come down to Earth, I think it would cause chaos. I think everyone would just be like, why are we paying taxes? Why are we living like this? Because these beings live in a completely different way. And I feel like they probably look at us and think, wow, what are they doing? I hope that makes sense. But I really do think that. Like, I do, when I look at the world, I think, God, it's crazy how we live, and we're told how to live, and we're told we have to pay all of these things. And when you track back just the meaning of money, where money comes from, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, I don't have the exact dates with me now, but when I've been looking at my own like money blocks and, you know, spending money and trying to see money as being an energy, money, before it existed, it used to be an exchange of services. So I need some potatoes, you've got carrots, let's do a swap. You've now got potatoes and carrots, now I've got potatoes and carrots. And it was as simple as that. It was a swap of services. If I get my story right, you can fact check me on this, because it's been a while since I read about this. Money then came about because of sailors and the travellers. So they didn't have much to swap. So instead, what they did was have these coins that didn't have any real numerical value, I don't think. And they would swap the coins, because the coins could then be melted down and used for something else. Eventually, the coins had some kind of, you know, this is worth this much, and this is made out of this, and, you know, this is worth more. Paper money came about because then the sailors and the travellers were carrying that much metal around with them, that they then introduced paper money, and it became, you'd swap this paper because it had a numerical value, and you could go and get this much stuff with it, and then money as we love today. Wait, I've just gone off on a right tangent, haven't I? Oh yes. Then people were like, oh, you know what? We're going to start taxing. We're going to start charging. The government's going to take X, Y, Z off what people earn. And I think the aliens would come down and go, this is mental. And I think a lot of the things that we do in this modern world is, obviously, we all know this, to make governments more money. And I think if we really knew the truth about how the aliens live, then we would be like, sack this, we're going this other way. I also read somewhere else that the alien species that come down can learn from us. They don't have emotional intelligence, empathy, sympathy. So they're so clever and they have this technology, but they need to learn emotions from us, and we've got a lot to learn from them. So that's also another thing that maybe I could do a whole podcast on this alien conspiracy, because I've watched a lot of videos. While we were in Vegas, of course, my eyes were darting to the sky the whole time because I was expecting to see something. We went out into the desert one day into, what was it called now? The Valley of Fire. And there have been alien sightings here. Like, we stopped over to get a little snack from a petrol station, and they had like alien key rings. And, you know, straight away I was like, oh my God. Couldn't Google anything because we were out in the desert and my phone doesn't work abroad. But I was on it. There was definitely military planes flying around. And I got all excited, of course. Going back, so I'm just skipping through the travels. So New York, past life. Vegas, aliens. San Francisco was very interesting. It was so beautiful in parts, but then in other parts, it was like, if you've seen the Hunger Games and you have the different capitals, you have the different districts, the center was like the poor districts, like zombie land, and then on the outskirts, you have these beautiful houses, the Golden Gate Bridge, the views, the sea. It was crazy. When we arrived at the hotel, first of all, we got the train. And again, this is because, you know, I know New York has a it's not as safe as Dubai, but the subways, I don't feel unsafe on them. So right, we'll get the train to the hotel, and there in San Francisco, it was about 11 o'clock at night, and oh my God, I was like squeezing onto my suitcase. There was people taking drugs, and it wasn't pleasant. So we walked to the hotel, literally ran. I was like, quick, it's there. Got in the hotel, had a quick chat with the guy that checked us in, and he warned us, don't go left. I was like, okay, we won't go left. But the next morning I was going to try and find this yoga studio, and we had to go left. And it was crazy to see that just on the pavements, the tents, the homeless people, like some of them, was like, are they still alive? They weren't moving. We walked past them and went back 15 minutes later, and they still hadn't moved. And they did leave us alone, actually. They weren't like begging as such, but then I'd read a lot when we were in the hotel. I watched some videos, and you know, the government's there, and the homeless people are very protected. And it was crazy to see that they had such a contrast from being by the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was beautiful, to the inner city. And yeah, I don't know much about American politics. I don't know much about politics at all. It's one, you know, I like conspiracies. I like dreams and miracles and magic and talking about things like that. So politics kind of doesn't fit in there. But we were speaking to a few people, and yeah, I think it's all down to the government. But as a visitor going in, honestly, at night time, one night we were walking back to the hotel, we made sure that we were in the hotel by 8 p.m. and there was a car siren going off, and it was as if the car siren was an alarm to sort of warn everyone to get inside, because the crazy people come out at night. And the hotel was loud. We could hear screaming all throughout the night. When we woke up in the morning, we'd go for a walk to get breakfast, and it was kind of the hangover from the night before. Yeah, crazy. Still beautiful. Like, I would say to people to go, but don't go left. Don't go into the city centre. All the shops have closed down. If you're interested, give San Francisco a little Google. All the shops have closed in the centre. There's hardly anything left. And then you could kind of have to walk through Chinatown to get to the nice parks and the bridge, and you don't see any homeless people there. It's like completely different world. So yeah, we started in New York. I've already spoken about New York. Before the USA trip, I went home, and I had 2 weeks in Stoke-on-Trent. Shout out Stoke-on-Trent, massive. And yeah, it's always weird to be at home. Like, when I walk around the streets, nothing's changed, but everything's changed, if that makes sense. So it still looks exactly the same, minus the odd telephone box that me and my friends used to hang in when it rained. But it feels the same, but I have changed. But when I'm walking around, I could still be that 14-year-old girl going to meet my mates on the corner, you know, knocking on for my friend. And as I was walking around, I was kind of like, oh, they live there, and they used to live there, and having those memories, it's very strange. And I think anyone that's moved away, when you go back home, it is a weird feeling that it's all still the same, but it's also different. And again, I feel like town at home isn't what it used to be either. Like, there's so many derelict shops, and this is what I mean about the Dubai bubble. We don't see any of that here. Again, very grateful. I'm very lucky. I'm grateful to live in such a safe city, which is why when I leave and I go to other places, it is a bit of a shock. But I do love going home. I have got the love for Stoke-on-Trent. I love the culture. I love walking around looking at all the old buildings and the pot banks. If you're not sure what they are, give it a Google. And of course, see my friends and my family. One thing that I do when I'm walking around is I do have a conversation with my 16-year-old self. Like, what would I tell her? So I walked up past my old high school, and yeah, I was just talking to her in my head and, you know, giving her advice. And I think it's a really good thing, let's call it an activity or a task to do. Just do it now. Well, after you've listened to this podcast, sit down and what would you tell your 16-year-old self? And it's so inspiring, I guess, inspiring yourself to go, wow, look how far I've come. Like, this 16-year-old girl with a whole life ahead had no idea the amazing things that I'm going to do, that I've done, and, you know, the amazing things that you're going to do. And another little task that I do is I often put myself into 50 years ahead and write myself a letter and tell myself the amazing things that I've done from this point. And it's really a really nice activity. It's really nice. And it really gets you thinking about what you actually want from life and what you don't. And I think it's easier to know what you don't because we think about that more. Like, I don't want that. I don't want this. I'm not going to do that. And we rarely think of the positive things of like, what do you want? How are you going to make this vision come true? And I think these 2 tasks really help you to pinpoint that and, yeah, taking steps to make that happen. And so going back again, so in June, my summer started when I went to Portugal and I had my retreat with Healy. And I didn't know what to expect, if I'm honest. It was obviously business based because Healy is part of my business, but it was also spiritual, witchy, fun. I learned a lot. There were meditations, there was cacao ceremonies, but then there was also talks on how to build your business. And it was me. That's basically me. I love the theory and the information and learning, but then I also love the witchy side. And the whole retreat was exactly that. Which brings me to the main thing I wanted to chat about today, which is sisterhood. And being on the retreat, I really was able to step into a new type of sisterhood where business meets sisterhood. So I just wanted to talk about the importance of finding a sisterhood. And it doesn't have to be, you know, a huge gang of women. It can be 1 or 2 women that you really feel that you can be yourself around. And I found that one of the most empowering things that I can do is to be around other women. And I feel that I get to a point when I haven't been around other women, I crave it. And once I have, it's like a femininity, sisterhood, recharge. And this is what I kind of want to do, not kind of actually, this is what I want to achieve through my podcast, through my Facebook group, is allowing you to come to a safe space and have this sense of sisterhood no matter where you are in the world. So being around other women really helps you to embody femininity. Other women reinforce the principles, the thoughts, the behaviours that are expressed from feminine energy. And when I haven't been around women, like I said, this is what I crave. This is what I want. So when I came back from my travels, this is what I was looking to get. And I still haven't, I've seen a couple of my friends, but I still haven't gone into it. I've done a few of my own rituals, but I'm very excited because I have a call today with my Healy sisters. So we're getting on that today. Why do we need this? So humans learn best from osmosis, and we certainly become the people we hang around with the most. I think it's numbers 5, isn't it? You are the result of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Energy multiplies. So the more that we're in presence of the energy that you want to become, you become that frequency. So when you're around positive, powerful, feminine energy, it naturally supercharges you. And I think that's where I get this craving to be around feminine energy. So if femininity is what you desire, then being in a social circle filled with healthy, empowered, feminine women should be at the top of your list. And I'm guessing it is if you're listening to this podcast. We are pack animals, social pack animals, and the tribe we align with is extremely influential. So just think about it. Think about when you've been around people that you feel like bring you down. And that's why, because you come onto their same energy level. So by being around women who gossip, and I'm going to talk about this in a bit more detail in a second, you find yourself becoming that gossip, and it can be an icky feeling. And yeah, it's not nice, is it? I'm sure you'll be listening to this thinking of a person that you're like, yeah, you feel that from them. You feel that being around them doesn't bring you up. Women are designed for community. It goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. I have another podcast that talks about, I think it's called Witch Please, and women that would gather, and eventually the patriarchy came along and called them witches and started to hang them all. But we have this innate desire, and I know some women they say, they prefer being around masculine energy, which is fine, but I think that comes from having a sister wound, or not finding women that you are proud to call your sisters, or you want to have in your energy. So you're naturally going to move away from that and may feel more comfortable in masculine energy, because it doesn't, some women carry that, like I say, using just gossip here, some women carry that, and of course you're not going to want to be around that energy. So like I just said, in ancient times, women really understood the power of a healthy sisterhood. And this was the case in cultures that were heavily aligned with nature. But in a society that seeks to dissolve natural principles and the distinct differences between the sexes, the value of sisterhood has been and is being lost. Even more worryingly, the media instigates feminine competition. And we've all been there. So, for example, it's common to see women fighting on television for the sake of our entertainment, those Real Housewives of, fill in the gap. And this is saddening, because it doesn't show, these women could be on these TV shows as role models for this is how women support each other. However, it's more of a entertainment of this is how women rip each other down. And it's all for the sake of temporary entertainment. People are okay with watching a talk show that two women are pulling each other's hair out over a man and he cheated on them, and instead of coming together as an entity of, oh my goodness, bad things happen to us both. And yeah, it's just really sad. I think it's really sad. And obviously we have then all of the internet blogs, we have the Kardashians, we have all these women on social media that we then start to compare ourselves to, because we don't look like them, and we start to feel really crappy as well. And the media is very, very clever. The media knows that it's mostly women who consume content that promotes feminine competition. Your husbands, boyfriends don't go, oh my God, let's log on, let's watch Love Island, and they want to see the girls fighting. They don't watch Real Housewives of Cheshire. They don't enjoy that. They might enjoy listening to you when you're having a gossip about your friends, but they don't enjoy it as much as women. It's made for women. And then at the same time, it's bringing women down. It's bringing this sense of sisterhood down. So have a little think about what your imagery, your perception of sisterhood is. Have you got one? And I'm going to admit that over the past couple of years, my image of sisterhood has really changed, because I can see where in the past I've had, they're still my friends, but they weren't in the energy that I wanted to be in. And, I've spoken about my anxieties in the past, and I didn't have the right energy around me to help me come through that. And yeah, I've been through times where I've judged, I've looked at women, on social media, compared myself, put women down, like, God, what's she wearing now? What's she doing now? Because I was also wrapped up in this sense of women hating other women, and that's the way that we should be, but it's really not. And being on my retreat in June really taught me that, and I made some lifelong friends. I stayed in a villa with 12 women, only one I knew, but from day one it was like we'd known each other for years and years and years. And if you're listening to this, shout out to the Portugal crew. You're all amazing. And again, this is something that a few years ago, I probably wouldn't have ever really shouted out, I wouldn't have called another woman amazing to her face, but that's because I wasn't getting that from other women. I wasn't shown by other women that you can love other women. You can give them a hug. You can tell them they're amazing. You can look them in the eye. You can cry with them and they're not going to judge you. So how do we build this sisterhood? Like I said, my vision is to have a sisterhood. My Facebook group is free. I share things in there. I share daily. I have podcast. This is my podcast. Sound healing, yoga, moon circles, everything in there to create a sense of sisterhood. And it's still growing. I'm still learning as well. So it's an entity there that I wish to grow, that women log on to their Facebook and they might have a friend that they've never met, they're across the world, but they feel that they can go and chat with them. And sisterhood should be based on what you need and what you desire in your life. Trying to seek out a feminine frequency that allows you to feel protected and gives you that sense of safety around other women. Simply being around people that inspire you to be a better woman is also a life hack. And again, this is something that I've also learned, particularly from the retreat, that having people, women, that you can turn to, that hold you up, that celebrate you, really propels you forward in other areas of your life. For anyone that needs emotional care and emotional support of a healthy feminine woman is perhaps the most healing experience. I felt like on my retreat that I came away with an area of me that was healed. My mentor, she spotted in me that there was huge shifts happening while I was there. There was one circle that we did that I couldn't even share because I was close to tears. And it wasn't sad tears. It was a release of something that I've obviously been holding on to. And just having her pull me aside and checking in with how I felt, I really felt seen. And all of the women there really, really supported me in that. And each other. And women are natural healers, natural listeners. They were able to hold space for other people. And part of the reason women are great at healing is because of their, we can listen. We're able to receive. We're able to give. It's easy to be vulnerable about the things you're going through when you have that someone that can empathize with you. And if it's needed, feminine women will help you walk through difficult situations. The sisterhood that you choose for yourself should be a space filled with positivity that helps you to heal all the negative expressions you share with them. And again, I felt that when I was in the villa. We would share negative things that happened to us, talk them through, and support each other with this emotion that we were feeling. The masculine energy naturally produces a hierarchy and competition, but feminine energy is kind of the opposite of that. It encourages cooperation. So just understanding this, the masculine part, if you feel that you're naturally in competition, you have some kind of masculine energy there. And it's about learning and telling yourself that, no, I'm not in competition with this woman. We all have, or I had, people that I would look at and be like, oh my God, I need to do better than that, or she's doing way better than me, and then I'd bring myself down. It's about stopping, seeing you for you and her for her, and appreciating you both. And you will notice that comparison, that competition slowly dissipates. I also noticed on my retreat that women are not shy to give compliments. Give them to yourself, give them to other women. Giving yourself positive affirmations is always necessary, and it does help to hear it from others. It's nice, and it gives you that oxytocin boost. It gives you that serotonin boost just by telling another woman she's beautiful and she looks at you and says, you are amazing, you're so kind. It's heartwarming. Like, even just saying it now, I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm melting in my chair. So what goes wrong? And I think that we're not really taught, or we don't know in this modern age, how to engage in healthy sisterhood dynamics. We see all of the arguments with women on the TV. And I know as a teenager, I don't think I ever had anyone show me how to be friends with other women or with other girls. And I think then you carry that on. And, you know, women listening to this, you can probably think back to high school and how bitchy it is. And then these traits we just carry on throughout adulthood, unless we obviously reteach ourselves, we relearn how to make friends and how to have a sisterhood. There's not abundance of celebrities and popular role models that represent femininity as well. Like I said, touched on the Real Housewives or the Kardashians are always falling out with somebody. And I know I always pick the Kardashians, but I don't really watch much social media for that type of people. So sorry to the Kardashians, I'm picking on you there, but from what I've seen, they're always arguing with someone. They're not ever really lifting, even they're sisters, they don't even lift each other up that much. And I know it's created for TV, but this is what we watch, this is what we see. And because society promotes feminine distrust, the bonds of friendship are often built on shaky grounds. What we need to do is identify toxic traits in both yourself and the others, which might poison friendships. And we all have these toxic traits, and it's about healing these and spotting these so that you can really create this friendship, this sisterhood. A lot of experiences that women have mentally scar women, and you know, it could be that you were bullied at school. It could be that you just didn't have really good friends at school. They were a little, you know, again, bitchy friends at school. I know that, you know, if they are listening to this, some of my friends at school were a little bit bitchy. And I know that I didn't like that. I used to go inside myself. They were always falling out with each other and I didn't know whose side to be on. And it was really uncomfortable for me. And I definitely have carried that on into adulthood. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning to check in with myself when I get this moment of, oh, do I, don't I, who, you know, there's no such thing as taking sides if you have the right sisters, the right women in your life. Now, what I try to notice in these women is I try to empathize. And if I see something happening, then now I know that they have something that they need to heal. They are suffering from issues they haven't sorted out. Unhealed women hurt other women because they have not learned how to channel their feminine energy properly. And I'm sure all of you listening has that one person that maybe just, you know, you might have been really upset because you don't think they liked you or they were really horrible to you and you don't know why. This is why. And instead of sort of being a mirror and reflecting it and go, well, I don't like her, realizing that there's something there that she needs to heal and she's taking it out on you, and empathizing instead of just shutting it off. And I feel like realizing this has really helped me to lower my guard. You know, it's natural to fear being judged and hurt, and that fear of, not even fear, that is a feeling, isn't it? When you feel that she's in competition with me and I don't know why, and you kind of then switch off. Or you may have noticed it from other friends, and when you feel it coming again, you switch off. So if a previous friend broke your trust, then you'll expect that to happen over and over again with other friends, and you will project that wound onto other women. But by keeping these things in mind, that not all women operate on a healthy frequency, can really help you to heal your own wounds. But don't let this stop you from complimenting, you know, making friends with other women and creating connections, because you will know when that connection is sincere. Because of the bad experiences women have, I've mentioned before that they may value friendships with men more. But healthy feminine friendships provide something that men cannot, and this is when, I spend a lot of time with my boyfriend, I love him loads, but I need to have this feminine energy. I need to sit down with a woman and I need to talk and I need to, show emotions or discuss things that when I talk to my boyfriend, he's just like, you try to talk to your husband or your boyfriend about some things and they just don't get it and they won't engage in the conversation that we want to have. Women are more emotional, men are more logical. And I'm sure you've had a conversation with your partners and you kind of want them to get emotional and talk to you and they're just very logical and end the conversation with, we'll do this or don't do this or say this and don't say this. And you're like, ugh, thanks for that. It was really, really helpful. Thank you. So there are a few little things that we can sort of look out for. So even as an adult, even as a woman in her 30s, looking out for the red flags when you do start to connect with other women to protect yourself, and then you're able to see in them what needs healing. When you're speaking to other women, I would say these things. Look out for judgment. So if they're judging other women, they are probably going to judge you, and you don't want that energy in your vibration. You don't want to become a judgy. Oh, it's just a judge, isn't it? You don't want to judge other women because, again, that's going to bring your vibration down. The same with jealousy. A lot of women judge because they are jealous, and jealousy comes from a mentality of scarcity. So looking at women and being jealous and judging them is because that person sees in that woman something that she feels she lacks. And a lot of the time, that's not true either. Or a lot of the time, it's materialistic because you're looking at something that you feel like you want, but then you're not doing anything about it. So it might be that she's got a better wardrobe than you. Okay, great. Instead of judging and saying that the clothes look rubbish or whatever words you're going to pick to choose, really looking at them and thinking, I desire that as well. Congratulate her. Oh my God, she looks amazing. I love that. She's got a Gucci, Chanel, Prada, Fendi, whatever it is that you feel like you desire in your life, and then start to put steps, build her up, and you will notice that you will feel better. Oh my God, I'm so grateful that I have X, Y, and Z. I desire that, and this is what I'm going to do and try and get it. Or it might just be that it's just something, a natural thing to put her down because you have something in yourself that you need to heal. Empowered women are not jealous of other women. If they admire something that another woman has, they are inspired to attain it. So ask yourself, do you truly want it, or is it just something that you feel envious of? And again, send her love. That is the main thing. Send that person, that woman, love. Another big thing that women do, the 2 C's, comparison and competition. We compare ourselves to other women. Again, this makes you feel crap. This makes you feel like you're not good enough. You should only compare yourself to the person you were yesterday, and that's it. Don't compare yourself to other people. They are not you. You are not them. There's no comparison. Everyone is different. But when we do compare, we then have that sense of competition. Many women derive a sense of pleasure from feeling superior to female counterparts. Instead of competition, we want collaboration. Do not see the success of other women as your loss, and do not see your success as a step up or makes you better. If you are doing really well, amazing, amazing, amazing. How can you uplift women to also feel the same as you? If you look at someone and you feel like, oh my God, she's doing this, I need to do this, stop. Stop comparing, stop putting yourself in that place of competition. Take a step back and really focus on what you want, not what she's doing or what you think you want. And then last, not ending on the toxic traits. How do you find these people? How do you allow yourself to have this sense of sisterhood? It all boils down to emotional intelligence and intuitive communication. Speaking to other women, going to places where you know there will be like-minded women. If you enjoy dance, go to dance. If you enjoy yoga, go to yoga. If you enjoy the gym, go to the gym. Find women that do and enjoy the same things as you, and you'll find that they might be your tribe. Join my Facebook group. Shameless plug. There are lots of different, obviously I think there's 250 women in there now, so it is growing, and my target is 1,000 women. 1,000 women in a sisterhood, 1,000 women that can share stories and help each other out. And, you know, I have this vision of, if someone's feeling something, just putting it in the group. This is how I feel today. And I'm getting so many replies, so much support. That's my vision for the group. And you will find that in other places as well. Yoga, meditations, sharing circles, wellness circles. Going to shops as well, crystal shops if you're into crystals. Whatever it is that you're into, go there. Meet people who are also into that. Make friendships, nurture friendships. We are always saying we're too busy, and this is another thing that can sort of dampen creating these friendships, but we need to make time to go to brunches, the movies, chatting, sending voice notes if that's all you've got time for at the moment, but really nurturing those friendships to turn them into your circle, to turn them into your sisterhood. Keeping the culture of your circle and your sisterhood into a place where somebody does something well, your sister's doing something well, acknowledge achievement, encourage them, hold space, listen, be authentic. Also have high standards. So keep your standards for yourself and for your sisters and your sisterhood high in a non-judgmental way. Remind them of their power. When I say high standards, it's not like, oh my God, I only associate with women that wear Prada and Gucci. I mean, I associate with women who are empowered, that hold each other up, that know they are powerful. It's all in the energy. They have high energy. My high standard is high energy. Women who empower others, who don't engage in negative self-talk or negative talk about other people. They talk about other women in a way that lights everyone up. And I think I'll stop there today because I could talk about this forever. And yeah, just to end it there with everything that I've just spoken about, I had in my retreat at the beginning of my summer. If this is something that you're looking for, drop me a message. I have, like I said, another plug for my Facebook group. Or if you're looking for something a little bit bigger, maybe an add-on into your life, if the Healy community sounds like something that you would like to step into as well, reach out to me. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little, I feel like the podcast started a bit chaotic today, jumping around. We've had aliens, we've had sisterhood, we've had zombies in San Francisco. Oh yeah, I hope that something resonated with you today. And if not, you just like my stories of my travels. And as always, let me know if you have questions, reach out to me, feedback. Hit 5 stars if you feel like I deserve 5 stars, subscribe. And I have another guest episode next week with an amazing Wim Hof breathwork instructor. So I will see you on the morrow. And that's it today, everybody. I hope you have a lovely week, and I'll see you again next week. Don't forget, 5 stars, download, tell your friends. You're amazing.